Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I think I am going to finish things up today on closing times on Being Cool. This is the DayLife Mary show, as always, sponsored by the Automat. Sorry, you gotta see or hear the commercial always, but that's how this shit runs. This is part of the DayLife Army, which I am a sergeant major in, which is the military arm of Pleasure Matrix expansion. What do armies do? They expand territory. What territory does the DayLife Army expand? Primarily spiritual and emotional territory. And how do we do that? Through the washing of belief. What does that mean? It means taking your belief that you store in the pain matrix, primarily in financial capital, social capital, time, relationships, reputation, and washing where you store your value, washing that value into Pleasure Matrix expansion. I wash every day. It's how I continue expanding this matrix and doing the work I do. These lives are a form of washing. You can wash socially by sending these lives around, reposting, tagging DayLife Army branded accounts. Financial washes, you know the drill, cash.me/$washitall, paypal.me/washitall. For secret government coin links, you can always DM me to send that way. Or if you're more of a money in your bookcase kind of gal like I used to be before I came here, you can always mail your wash to just DM me for that address, snail mail style. Okay, so when I left off, I was talking about Pain Matrix PR agents working double time to cement the narrative after a convenient death of a person who could not talk and was able to be used, and that narrative was a way of shifting people away from going too deep on, oh, maybe everything's counterculture is completely fabricated by military intelligence. And maybe just like the alt-lit scene, this new right scene and all of its podcasts and dirtbag leftists and like artists and angelicism writers are all fomented by ops just the same. And also to take away, to cement a narrative that makes people not realize like a lot of things, but basically it ties in a little bit into like, it's just creating a drama to suck in people's energy and attention. And I was falling victim to that. And that's why I had to be like, oh shit, I gotta close these times. These times are sucking my energy out of Pleasure Matrix shit, and my belief is getting kind of tethered a bit to Pain Matrix bullshit because of, like, let me give you an example. There are certain Twitter accounts, like, I may have posted them in Telegram when I was talking about this closing time in the story, like different Twitter accounts that talk about ops and the underground being all full of scripted bullshit and scripted people. But I was becoming like those accounts and those conspiracy accounts, which just become creating more audience for those satanic concepts and story. And like, why feed it in any way, shape, or form? Because last capitalism and like the underground hipster audience is an audience of hate watching. Like that is the point. And as long as you're watching, that's like the energy is still getting placed there. And so in a way, I'm just still worshiping false idols from like before I even came here by getting invested in believing. And it's not like I'm saying you can't follow what's going on. And DayLife Army does. You see the tweets and you see what we talk about, like, there's always mentioning of the storyline of the little season that's happening out there, like what's going on. It is important, and it can be exciting or it can be something you enjoy doing, or there's like a purpose to it. But when you just believe that story, and you believe, like, or pine after, like, some of the things that you see that are fake, that's a problem. When you don't recognize it for what it is and get used by it rather than using it. And I don't actually want what those characters really have and what their lives are really like. The PR does a hard sell, but it's still a trick. And I don't know, like, when I found out about Trevor's death and then the subsequent, like, way it was used by the PR machine, and where there were opportunities that I gave up because I believed more in the pay matrix and Satan than God, the pleasure matrix. And when I say believe, people kind of like think like, oh, like you choose what you, not choose. They think like it's a lot more purposeful or something, like I'm actively choosing consciously, I would say. But believing in Satan is something that you just do by default from growing up and being programmed inside that system. And it's extremely, extremely difficult to take your belief out of that system. That's why washing is so difficult and comprehensive. And Satan's always there for any opening. Any opening you give him or that energy, it will be taken. And you have to just be on your fucking toes, because the devil never sleeps, right? The devil doesn't eat. There's things that can make you realize that it's serious, and I've had a good amount of those, or else I probably wouldn't be this place that I am in today, you know? Like, it takes people who are not like people who are not like well adjusted to the system, or like haven't had crazy things happen to them, don't take the kinds of risks that I've taken. I'm getting a little off track here. So I used, when this article was coming out, and like Wiko, you know, my cult feeders, talking to me and like being like, what's going on? It kind of sounds like you're just fucking into these players of the satanic cult, the way you are believing them or envious or whatever. It's like you still have a lot of that clout chasing programming. And hey, being an artist, going to art school, it's top tier mind control institutions. It's hard to get out of that. And so they were like, what are all these, there are no coincidences, right? So what are all these things happening around this scene that you followed pretty closely, this scene that had a lot to do with the cancellation and the articles, this scene that has a lot of people who secretly watch DLA, who are connected to very insidious trafficking organizations and operations, etc., etc. Like, what does it mean, Emily, to you? Why is your story having all these things happen at the same time? Why is this journalist trying to talk to you and then ghosting you? And why are these people that you are like screaming about them being ops, why do they watch all your tweets about them and then like subtweet accordingly, or they never block you? Like, what's that mean? And it became clear to me the parts of me that were still very much tethered to that system and believing those things as the fake shit that they were. And that, what that was doing, and this is the important part, this is the whatchamacallit, the quote tweet, like, that was keeping me from doing my job in pleasure matrix expansion and being a doorway, or being at the doorway, me at a doorway, the only doorway right now for people to interact with the pleasure matrix and to wash belief and get further off the most satanic paths and pipelines and be closer to being human. I'm not saying many people are capable of being fully human, but they can get closer to that path and stray off of a pipeline that might have them headed towards death or harvesting. And it's a very serious thing for me to be able to be at a doorway that can provide that. And I've seen it in my life where I didn't take it seriously and didn't believe in my heart and soul and all, as much as I still believed in the pain matrix and Satan. I've seen it make me not good at my job, and it makes me allow people to leave and go off towards their death or shitty decisions because they couldn't see someone who was committed fully 100%. Committed fully 100% means there are no doors open here or there, like a door that's opened deep inside, perhaps subconsciously saying, maybe I still could get clout here and do that there and like get success. Let me just tell you one thing. Committing to this and doing this army and doing pleasure matrix shit, it's a different matrix entirely. The pain matrix, while it is still in control and the mainstay operation here on Earth plane, you will never be here. You will never be clouded up. You will never be popular. You will never be viral. You will never be acceptable. You will never be anything but shadow banned by the mainstream, by the pain matrix version of what is real or successful or good. You will be the opposite. And as a white woman, that's pretty hard for me, someone who cares about appearances a lot. And like this whole series really, if I'm trying to say like what it all should be teaching me, and it's kind of a pain matrix concept that people have to die to teach you lessons, and that death needs to be a catalyst. But hey, if there is something that's serious or big in your life, it's stupid to not see what you could learn from it or what it is trying to show you. And hell, death has been a catalyst in my life, and I started trying to figure it out so I didn't have to keep having it be one, you know, like I didn't have to have death be the catalyst anymore, and it could just be like ego harvesting that was the catalyst, right? Not ego death, no one's talking about that. But yeah, like the thing about what I do now is that I have to be 100% committed for it to work. And you have to be really strong if you're maybe like someone like me with my background who used to care a lot about the things that I used to care about. You have to be strong to be able to track and look at the underground and people out there doing what they're doing and remember that it's all a lie and it's a horrible life and that it's not what it seems, and that there actually is nothing there that at least I want. You know, the things that I am trying to allow to come my way, to make space to come my way. And when all those doors are open out there with like energy flowing out back out there, that just takes, it's like I'm trying to create a vacuum, right? Because God fills vacuums, and I'm ruining a vacuum seal by opening these doors back into pain matrix bullshit. And yeah, there's shit out there that wants your soul. If you're gonna try and start getting access to it back, becoming more able to live with it, I mean, you are it, but if you're able to start living as and embodying your soul, there are demons out there that want to harvest that shit. Things will be offered to you. You will be tested. It's like, this army has put it before, like, you can regain soul through washing, but then it's like, if you go back out in the pain matrix with that, and it's like a cherry on top of your head that demonic forces want to fucking harvest, because the pain matrix runs on harvesting human soul, and doing that through breaking bonds, murder, bloodshed, all that shit. So it's serious. It's serious, you know? But how is that much of a wrap-up, really? I'm trying to talk about the things that were important, that this whole little, like, experience was showing me. And I do feel like I can see reality more for what it is with these people that I kind of was hate watching for a long time. I still need to believe less in things that are satanic, that have a lot of things backing them that people really do still like believe are true. Like, and it's like, you can even consciously understand that any journalist who hasn't been murdered or is like working is a PR shill, right? If they weren't like overtly trained at a Swiss boarding school and like MK Ultra'd into being just like an actor, they're just being used to be something. And that applies to journalists and actors and every character or whatever. Like, you can kind of consciously know that, but it's another thing to like see the play and get mesmerized still, even if you do know all that intellectually. It's something about in your heart, like believing it with everything or not believing it with everything or not. And that's a challenge that I, in the past couple of years, have really been pressed up against. Like, I was brought up satanic as fuck. I did art school for a really long time. I did art schools for a really long time. I was raised by hipsters. I am primed to believe in a certain story. And yeah, it's time to close those times completely, as much as I said I did to do what I'm doing now, in order to help other people close those doors and stop chasing clout, things that don't even pay the meager peanuts they used to. And it's like, that shit does not pay. Everything the devil gives you is a trick. There's always a hidden cost, and it'll always make your life worse. So remember that. Make a wash. I would love if I had like passive washes coming in from people who see me talking about it, you know? And for those who like wash seriously, a certain type of relationship does begin to form to the pleasure matrix, and a relationship to me as someone who's facilitating your washes. Just depends on what you want, you know? That's what washing does. It accelerates your wants plus needs. So it's different for everyone. But how do I end this? Why don't you stop going down that path? If you're watching this and you're one of the many like low tier hipsters who still makes music or art, just stop. How about that? I mean, sure, craft in your bedroom for fucking like getting out your feelings, but really though, making art is just a way to fetishize rather than process your feelings. Hate to say it. So even that, I'm like, if you're not trying to like do it as a profession, but you're just like fucking having fun, there's some other shit that you should be spending your time on before you get into all that. And yeah, make a wash of belief instead, and put your creative energy towards becoming more human and getting a deeper relationship with yourself and other people. And yeah, my oh my, that's it, I think. That's it. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.